So we're leaving Romania, again. Saying goodbye this time with a 7-day road trip. An homage to Romania's world-famous superstars, Dracula, Ceaușescu, and Brâncuși. Dracula, aka Vlad Tepes, Vlad the Impaler, a Romanian national hero who impaled tens of thousands of his enemies. You have the patriotic communist dictator, Ceaușescu, and world-renowned Romanian sculptor, Brâncuși. The idea is to stop at each of these guys' birthplaces, starting with Dracula's. Now, right now, we're leaving Cluj-Napoca, one of the richest cities in Romania. Enjoy the view out the window. And we're driving to Sântejude-Vale. I'll say that again. Sântejude-Vale. That's like St. Jude's Valley. Going to a friend's house for some vital nourishment. Romanian barbecue. Important to start the trip out right.
Ăla e lui Cătălin roade osul.
Look at that.
L-am...
It's pork, yeah?
Yeah.
Porc.
L-am păcălit aseară pe...
De acolo e toată carnea mici, a? E pe ăsta?
Da, știu. Mă încerc să iau de afară și
Oh, you stupid fool.
Stai să o rezolvi aici.
Without exception, every house in this village has a two-dimensional Jesus tacked up to a cross. Say it's for good luck, and all the sinners in the house are naturally forgiven.
Dacă faci așa, știi?
This is your secret recipe?
No. Cătălin recipe. S-a uitat în TikTok.
Wow.
No.
Probă de microfon.
Okay, so today we're driving to Sighișoara, another town in Transylvania. City, actually. Small city. And this town is UNESCO listed. It is a Saxon fortified medieval town and the birthplace of Dracula.
Wiped off my chin and my shoes, and I sauntered inside.
Welcome to Sighișoara. I don't know how much walking we're going to be doing in this. Romanian landlords, take note. This is how your guests should be greeted.
Cheers.
Noroc. How much do you love Dracula?
I'm not allowed to say.
Let's look at his town. Here's a synagogue from 1911. I don't think any Jews live here anymore. To get to the childhood home of Vlad Tepes, Vlad the Impaler, Dracula, Vlad the Third, we gotta walk up the hill. You know, the town was fortified on top of a hill by the Transylvanian Saxons. The Transylvanian Saxons, they were given this land, and a lot of land in Transylvania, by the King of Hungary, who wanted basically to start up some agriculture. And ultimately, it ended up being a kind of defense force against the Ottoman advancement into Europe. The Transylvanian Saxons, German ethnicity, were basically responsible for keeping the Ottomans at bay. The langosh is Hungarian food. Why not? This used to be the Kingdom of Hungary. The Transylvanian Saxons built this tower behind me. It's called the Clock Tower in the 1200s. And Dracula was born here in the 1400s, so very good chance Dracula was playing under this tower. And this is Dracula's childhood home. It's his daddy's house. Vlad the Two. So Vlad II, Vlad Dracul, earned his moniker Dracul when he joined the Order of the Dragon. That's like a military fraternity that was founded by Sigismund of Luxembourg, King of Hungary at the time, later Holy Roman Emperor. And his son, Vlad III, inherited it. Dracula. And this fraternity, Order of the Dragon, their forsworn duty was to protect the empire against the enemies of Christianity, the Turks, the Ottomans. So when Vlad III was born, Vlad the Impaler, his father was the Prince of Wallachia. And I think by the time Dracula reached around 14, he was given to the Sultan, the Ottoman Empire, in order to ensure his father's loyalty. It is said that Vlad Tepes III resented the Ottoman Empire and the Sultan forevermore. Personal animosity toward Mehmet the Conqueror, the kidnapping Sultan's son. We're walking up covered stairs to the Church on the Hill, as it's called. It's the third largest church in Transylvania. It's been constructed since 1429, right around when Vlad Tepes III was born. An ancient Romanian expression. There's no time for God after 5 o'clock. You know, the church is closed. Been inside before. It's nice, but it's nothing to write home about. You know what's not closed? The neighboring Saxon cemetery. Let's have a quick look. Remember the name Adolf? Used to be a popular name. I don't know what happened to it. I think that's enough Sighișoara for tonight. I mean, what do we have waiting for us at home? Zoika. You know what Zoika is. $6.47 lei per liter is $5.47 per gallon. We're driving 4 hours south now to another town settled by the Transylvanian Saxons, although we are leaving Transylvania. Târgoviște. It was the capital of Wallachia, and Wallachia is where Dracula served as prince. He was installed there by the Ottomans. Wallachia was a tributary state to the Ottoman Empire. It means they paid taxes to the Sultan. Dracula didn't like that very much. More on that later. Wallachia is important in Romanian history because it was when they merged with Moldavia that it founded the basis for the modern day Romania that we know and love today. So Târgoviște was the capital of Wallachia, and Dracula lived there in his castle while he was voivoda, prince of Wallachia. All right, look at this. We're passing by Hobiţa. It's a fortress built by the Transylvanian Saxons by the 1300s. Might be older, but it was first mentioned in the 1300s. And it was used on and off as a shelter against the Ottomans. I think the Ottomans may have raided it once or twice. Look at that. You know, there's a legend that Decebalus, king of the Dacians, killed himself here. I don't know. Had to stop the car. You may know I have this thing for Ceaușescu-era communist city border monuments. This is for Brașov. Speaking of communism and Ceaușescu, I have a special treat for you in Târgoviște. I hope you enjoy it as much as the Romanians did on Christmas Day, 1989. We're passing through Brașov now, not going to stop, but it is another must-see Transylvanian Saxon city. The top three, I guess, would be Brașov, Sighișoara, and Sibiu. Brașov used to be called Stalin. That's exciting, isn't it? This was before Ceaușescu. It was changed back to Brașov in 1960. So I think it was called Stalin for about 10 years. Another communist-era border monument. We're leaving Județul Prahova and we are entering Dâmbovița. And here's another communist-era border monument that we passed on the way, the one I just showed you. Let's take a look. Județul Dâmbovița, another county. What an exciting town. What an exciting town. What town was that?
Moroieni.
And here we are, finally. Târgoviște. On December 25th, 1989, the trial of the Ceaușescu spouses, Nicolae and Elena, took place in this building, which was formerly known as the Calvary School. Ceaușescu, of course, was the great communist dictator of Romania. Entering a room now where, in the morning of December 25th, 1989, the Ceaușescu couple was medically examined. Standard procedure before trial. This says, meeting at the Iron Gates. That's Tito of Yugoslavia and Ceaușescu. Iron Gates on the Danube. Now entering the room where the trial took place, where they were judged by the Exceptional Military Court. So here's where the prosecutor sat, and here's the seating area for the judges of the Extraordinary Military Court. And this corner was reserved for Nicolae and Elena Ceaușescu during their trial. By December 22nd, 1989, the rebellion had spread throughout the entire country. It started in Timișoara. Ceaușescu fled via helicopter with his wife, beating out demonstrators by seconds from a rooftop in Bucharest. Ultimately, he was forced to land here in Târgoviște, and he was taken to this building where he spent the last 3 nights of his life. And this is the bathroom used by Nicolae Ceaușescu and his wife Elena. And here's the room where the Ceaușescu couple spent their last 4 days and 3 nights. We'll call it the bedroom. And bright as it gets, huh? Looks like there used to be a curtain here, perhaps for privacy, while they ate. Christmas Day, 1989. Here are the bullet scars and an outline of where Nicolae and Elena Ceaușescu fell. They had been charged and were found guilty of illegal accumulation of wealth and genocide. They were executed by firing squad, obviously. They were going to be executed one at a time, but Elena and Nicolae insisted that they die together, and they were granted that wish. Their last wish actually was to have their hands untied. They were not granted that wish. The hasty show trial and the execution were shown immediately afterward on Romanian television, and there was great celebration throughout. The Ceaușescus were the last people ever to be executed in Romania. No more death penalty. Now for a little walk about the city of Târgoviște. As with every city in Romania, the communists really left their mark in the form of block housing. This hero's monument is locally known as the phallus of the city. True story. Back to Dracula. When I say Dracula, there might be some confusion because sometimes I say Dracula, sometimes I say Vlad number 3 or Vlad the Impaler. They're all the same people. Vlad Tepes in Romanian is Vlad the Impaler, and he is of House Draculești, thanks to his father who joined the Order of the Dragons. Dracul means dragon in Old Romanian. This is Dracula's grandfather, Mircea the Elder, and he's the one that made this city the capital of Wallachia. So Vlad the Impaler was the Prince of Wallachia, the voivode, 3 separate occasions. And you know, the first people he impaled were not the Turks, it was the Saxons. A number of Saxons didn't like Dracula too much. They thought one of his distant relatives should be the Prince of Wallachia. And so Dracula changed their mind pretty quickly, restored the peace by impaling the right number of Saxons. So now we're going to take a quick look at the remains of where Dracula lived as the voivode of Wallachia. This church wasn't here during Dracula's time. It was built from 1583, the princely church. Dracula built this tower behind me. It's called the Sunset Tower in English. They call it something in Romanian too, I just can't say it. I'll spell it for you. Once upon a time, Mehmet the Conqueror, who grew up as Dracula's brother in the Ottoman court, sent his boys over to Dracula to collect the money owed. Wallachia, remember, was a tributary state to the Ottoman Empire, so they had to pay taxes. Dracula said no in the form of killing Mehmet's messengers. He impaled them, put them on stakes. In response, Mehmet the Conqueror and a huge chunk of the Ottoman army rode up to the walls of Târgoviște to teach Dracula a lesson. Now, Dracula, by this point, had impaled, staked up, tens of thousands of Turks. This is what was waiting for Mehmet. That combined with a night attack, Dracula dressed up as a Turk, along with some of his men. They invaded the Ottoman encampment, created havoc. Dracula tried to personally assassinate Mehmet the Conqueror, but got the wrong tent. It was enough to turn the Ottomans around, so Dracula for the win. Day 2 finished, as far as you're concerned. Good morning from Târgoviște. Today we're leaving for Craiova, but first a stop at the birthplace of Ceaușescu. Last shot from Târgoviște is another communist-era city monument. And look, they're spelling Târgoviște the way they used to, back in communist days, with an I instead of an A with a sh over it. Yesterday we saw where it all ended for Nicolae Ceaușescu. And today, 2 hours from here, we'll see where it all began in 1918. In a village, back then, a village called Scornicești. In 1988, a year before Ceaușescu was killed, he decided he would remake his birth village into a model town to house the newly created Socialist Man. The Socialist Man is athletic, muscular, selfless, looks at public property as his own. The idea was that the children of people growing up under communism would just somehow be a different kind of human, the Socialist Man. The first thing Ceaușescu did was he declared the village was no longer a village. It is now a city. I think it was like population 6,000. And he built a stadium to hold 16 or 18,000 people. Right outside the house where Ceaușescu was born, you have this beautiful monument. Just beyond this fence is the house in which Ceaușescu was born. I'll stick my phone over there and you'll take a look. It wasn't bulldozed. A lot of the other village houses were bulldozed to make room for the block housing, for the Socialist Man. But Ceaușescu had the foresight to save his childhood home. This is the first statue of Ceaușescu I've ever seen. In all my years traveling around Romania, this is the first one. There aren't that many here. Romanians don't like him too much. I broke in. Age 11, Ceaușescu left this house, moved to Bucharest to become a shoemaker. Ceaușescu had a church built in the cemetery in this village, and I heard that there was a mural of him or of his father painted inside of it. Okay, it's not Ceaușescu, but Ceaușescu had a mural of his parents painted in this church. Must be his parents, right? It says Ceaușescu right up there. And on the other side of the church entrance, I believe these are Ceaușescu's grandparents. I'm 29 and I'm still a virgin. Maybe that's a box to collect candles. Very sexy. Beautiful sculpted wooden doors in this church. I would imagine Ceaușescu has some relatives buried here, given that this was his birth town. Here's a Ceaușescu that died a year after the revolution. Another Ceaușescu stone, family Ceaușescu. Wrapping up the visit to Ceaușescu's birth town by driving right through the center of Scornicești. By the way, right after Ceaușescu died, they downgraded it from a city back to a town. And look, coming up here, that's Ceaușescu's stadium, bigger than the town itself. And goodbye, Scornicești. Now for an hour drive to Craiova, where we'll stay for 2 nights.
There's a blackbird perched outside my window.
Here's the monument for Craiova. We've entered Craiova. Our Airbnb is this old communist building, top floor, and take a look at the stairwell here. Great panorama up here. Look at these curtains on these doors. I love communist elevators. We love communist elevators. I'm going to tell you more about Constantin Brâncuși tomorrow, but today I'll just say he's one of the world's most influential sculptors of the 20th century, and he lived here in Craiova for 10 years, aged 12 to 22, and he studied art here in Craiova, then in Bucharest, then in Munich, then in Paris. So, you can picture young Constantin Brâncuși, aged 12 to 22, 1888 to 1898, wandering around these streets. Get a beer?
Mondial?
It's a nice bar, Biergarten. Kind of reminds me of a ruin pub, a little bit. Maybe it's just Wednesday, I don't know, but the town center in Craiova feels like a ghost town. Back home in our communist flat, this is the view from the bedroom. And here's our bathroom. I particularly appreciate the shower-sink combo. And the angle of the toilet. Good morning from Craiova. Morning exercise. 10 flights of communist stairs. So Constantin Brâncuși, who used to live here, has works displayed here in the Museum of Art, and that's where we're going right now. He's known as the father of modern sculpture, a pioneer of modernism. And here's the Craiova Museum of Art. Some scenes from inside this museum. Yeah, different standard of beauty in Romania back in the day, I guess. Look at these faces. A face to love. This is the most well-known Grigorescu. Wagon with oxen. See, no matter which way you look at the painting, left or from the right, the oxen look like they're gonna plow right through you. This building was constructed 1900 to 1907 by this guy, Constantin N. Mikhail. And here's what we've all been waiting for, Constantin Brâncuși. Look at this one, The Kiss, 1907, carved in Marna stone. This one is called Mademoiselle Pogani. Detractors call it a boiled egg on a cube of sugar. Now for another walk around the city of Craiova. 7th largest city in Romania, by the way. This is the Craiova County Administrative Palace. right next to it, a beautiful communist building. You can see the communist mosaic artwork up there. And continuing our circle, a modern shopping mall. The Philharmonica Oltenia was founded in 1904. This building was completed in 2015. This building was a cultural center completed in 1903 in Oriental style. And now there's a restaurant in there, Minerva. Wow, look at it in here. Let's check out the restaurant. Beautiful. Here's a cake shop in the same building. Romanians love this French pastry. They've been eating it for 150 years. They call it savarina. See? I told you Romanians love this. So those ladies who were panicked about the video, they were making kovrig. It's like a Romanian pretzel. This Orthodox church was originally built in 1792. It was rebuilt in 1896. And then restored in 2012. Quick look. We're walking to a communist monument, by the way, from the 1970s, in case you were wondering. This used to be a cinema, and here's where you would get your tickets. A military concert hall. Marin Surescu Art School. And it looks communist. You see the mosaic? Here it is, the Communist Monument to the Romanian War of Independence. That was 1877. Romania gained independence from the Ottoman Empire thanks to an alliance with Russia. Russian troops rolled through Romania on the condition that they respect the territory of Romania, and then Romanian troops joined them, and independence. This monument was completed in 1977. And there are more panels on the other side. Looks like the artist is Emil Merianu, and 1977. Romanian Independence Day was yesterday, so you can see these honorific flowers are still fresh and very much alive. Ioan Zamfrescu lived here. He, apparently, is the one that first discovered Brâncuși and had enough faith in him to pay for something. His lifestyle, school, I don't know. Can't figure it out. Eminescu, the most famous and influential Romanian poet. Here's our home sweet home. Dinner today at the local cantina. It's only $6 for this meal and beer. There are cameras covering every square inch of this place. Look at this. Makes me wonder what sort of neighborhood am I in right now? Craiova is famous for sword fights. You gotta look that up. But people like to fight and try to kill each other with swords here. Back home. Hey, check out the mailboxes in our apartment building. So what do you think? Was every single mailbox here punched? Did they punch every single mailbox here? Or was someone trying to break into every single mailbox here? What do you think?
They probably tried to get in and they punched it.
They punched it, yeah, they punched it. Looking up, should we walk up? Should we walk up the 10 flights? No. Yeah. Do it.
No, I'm scared.
And this is a good night to you. Bye. See you tomorrow. Day 6, saying goodbye to Craiova. Driving today to Târgu Jiu to see more works of Constantine Brâncuși, and along the way, stopping at his birthplace. But first, before we leave Craiova, we're gonna try to break into an old people's home. We called them, they said don't come. We're gonna show up in person. Maybe we'll get a different result. But I read that they have a large statue of Ceaușescu in the backyard. So, wish us luck.
This will get bigger, if you know what I mean.
So it would seem Ceaușescu has at least one fan in Romania. Mission accomplished. Bianca for scale. It's a pretty big statue. Big enough. Nice. And I believe I see some tribute panels here to the socialist man. Just an FYI, it doesn't look like the old people's home is finished yet, but what used to be here was a restaurant or an events hall called the Palace of the Socialist Republic of Romania. Hence, I guess, the Ceaușescu. All right, so it's a 2-hour drive now to Hobiţa. That's the birthplace, the village that Constantine Brâncuși is from. And we're passing through a gypsy neighborhood, a Roma neighborhood of Craiova. You can tell by the houses. Pulled over to appreciate this power station a bit more. The Rovinari Power Station. It's one of the largest electricity producers in Romania. It's a coal plant.
Is this thing cursed?
So this is Hobiţa, where Constantine Brâncuși was born. And in the village park is this statue of Constantine Brâncuși. This sign says that Constantine Brâncuși was born right here in 1876 on this land. They wanted to charge like $5 to take a picture and another $5 or $10 to take video, so fuck that. But anyway, it's very nice. It's a humble village home, dirt floor, made of wood. They had a separate structure to make tsoika, the Romanian, devil's brew. And cool place to wash your clothes. Basically the house had 3 rooms, a kitchen, a bedroom, and looked like a shed, like a tool shed. And the lady said that's the original house of Brâncuși. He was born in that house. Things I read online says it's a reproduction and that the father left the house to the sister and the land to Brâncuși, and the sister moved the house, a couple hundred meters away, and later it was demolished. So, who could say? We just arrived at Târgu Jiu, and we're going to spend the night here. This is the capital of Gorj County, and Constantine Brâncuși lived here as a boy. That's why we're here. He was commissioned to contribute to a memorial monument to the fighters of World War I called Heroes Street, and he finished it in 1938. So we're going to check out these large sculptures, which are the main tourist attraction here in Târgu Jiu. Say it.
Târgu Jiu.
Yep. The official name of Constantine Brâncuși's work here in Târgu Jiu is Sculptural Ensemble of Constantine Brâncuși at Târgu Jiu. It was commissioned by the National League of Gorj Women to honor the local soldiers who had defended Târgu Jiu in 1916 from the Central Powers. Now, Constantine Brâncuși at the time was living in Paris, but he welcomed the opportunity to create a large commemorative sculpture in his homeland, and he accepted the commission in 1935, but he refused to receive payment for it. This is the River Jiu, where the town gets its name from. Târgu Jiu. Man, I hate saying that name. This is the Table of Silence. It's a circular stone table surrounded by 12 hourglass seats, which symbolize time. Subject to several interpretations. Some say that the Table of Silence represents the moment before battle. Others say that it could be the Last Supper, in which the 12 apostles are seated around Jesus. The chairs being for the apostles, the table represents Jesus himself. And this pathway to the next sculpture is called the Alley of Chairs. This piece is called Gate of the Kiss. So now we're walking west to east from the Gate of the Kiss to the Endless Column along Avenue of the Heroes. It's about a 15-20 minute walk to the final piece in this ensemble. We're approaching the Endless Column now. Here it is, the Endless Column. It symbolizes infinity and the infinite sacrifice of the Romanian soldiers. There are 15 stacks of, I don't know what you call them, modules. Half unit at the top and half at the bottom, so that makes a total of 16. The height is 29.3 meters. Now, the incomplete top unit is thought to be the element that expresses the concept of the infinite. That looks pretty cool. Now to hunt for food. It's tokitora, one of my favorite meals. Supermarket success. I don't think so. Walking home in the light rain. No shortages of places to gamble in Romania. You ever have donkey milk? It's expensive. $7. Damn it. No guns, no dogs. Not in this building. As far as the homage to the Romanian superheroes goes, that's a wrap. We're leaving Romania today, heading to Serbia. We'll see what we see on the way out. This is the Iron Gate Dam and hydroelectric power plant and gorge. Across the Danube River is Serbia. I'm going to talk about the Iron Gate in another video, the Serbian video, when I cross.